Hello everyone. Welcome to 21st session of ProGraphic Complete Tutorial. In this session, I'm going to start talking about some tools that we have in Illustrator in creating diagram, and we're going to use them a lot, like line, pen, and shape builder tool. I'm going to teach these things in icons of architecture. But before getting into these, I'm going to talk about some analysis of some parts of analytical diagrams of architecture. So you'll get to know the overall format of the things that you're going to learn today. So if you've paid attention in diagrams, in expert diagrams, in famous competitions and offices and academics in the world, when you see the diagrams, there are some icons around the diagram that make really in diagram more interesting and give more depth and detail and express the diagram better to the audience. And as you can see, these can be in section diagram. Now I'll explain about all kinds of diagrams in future sessions, and the categorizing them and everything step by step. That if you paid attention, many of the famous offices and architects, they create diagrams for themselves that now in categorizing them, we'll get to these, and we call them iconic diagrams. And these icons are drawn by themselves, and these are not the icons that you can download in the internet. Maybe many of icons exist in diagrams that you can download from the internet, like these, for example. A person working with a computer, or a bathroom, stairway, or for example meditation, drawing, green space, family area, bar, or many kinds of areas that seeing these icons and eye parking, we can really easily understand that what use do these areas have, or what function do they have, and you don't need to use text anymore. If you paid attention, some of these exist in the internet, but in many of expert diagrams, like this one, for example, function, the architect, the designer, personalize the function just for that project, and now you see those icons that are for that project only in that project, and you won't see it anywhere else, and you only see that in that designer's diagrams and that project, and you won't see that in other projects and sites on the internet. This is personalizing the icons and diagrams for the designer. Now this makes your work really better, and especially those friends that want to design personalized portfolios for applying or employments in famous offices. This is a really interesting and really important touch for your portfolio. It's a kind of signature that would be very interesting for the audience and this person that sees your portfolio. If you paid attention here, some of these icons have been downloaded from internet, but some are just for this project, or here, for example, or in this project that, as you can see, it's completely personalized, and you can only see this in this project. Or here you see some of the diagrams, some of these icons, in fact, in this diagram are internet, but many of them have been designed by the designer or the person who's presenting. Or in this project, you can see really easily You can see the areas have been explained. So, theater, WC, or cafeteria, and you can see in expert diagrams of famous architects, you don't see just pictures. You see plans, icons, pictures, real pictures of the project, details, structure, and you see the composition of balanced composition of these, and that makes your work really interesting and better. Or for example, here some of these have been designed, or here, as you can see, or especially in this project that is a really interesting master plan diagram. And if you paid attention, all of these icons that have been used here have been designed by the designer, and you won't be able to find these on the internet and download them. So this makes your work professional and unique from others, and whether it's on architecture or presenting in anything else. And today I want to teach you how to create these shapes and how can we create them in Illustrator. So free shape and freeform shapes, shapes that are free and they don't have any specified geometry. So we're going to teach you these, and or here you can see the Milan has been created with a diagram, really beautiful, using Illustrator. Or here. Some of these have been created by the designer. Or here. So, this was the diagrams. Now we're going to enter details, and in another folder, I'll show another examples of sustainable architectures or city buildings. And I'll show you examples. See, these icons all are created in Illustrator. And as you can see, all of these have a completely deformed shapes, and there are shapes that are not just circles, rectangles, squares. So how can we create these kinds, and how can we create diagrams, personalized diagrams for yourselves? So for example, I'll create some of these in Illustrator, so you can see and learn to create them in projects. So before entering our lessons, I want to explain about our toolbar. So if you paid attention, between the tools we have a line that you can see. This line that separates parts exists in Photoshop here and in InDesign. The reason is these have been separated based on their use and function. So the first family is selection family. So if you want to select something, you'll use these. In second one, I'll explain everything, everything that we're going to use in projects and diagrams later. But first we have the selection family and tools that are for selecting areas. Move tool, selection tool. And in second one is drawing. So you want to draw anything, you use whether it's line, shape, or anything, you're going to use the second family, that are these. The third family is editing the second one. So here, for example, you can edit, add some things or remove some things from your drawings. So these are some tools that do rotate, deforming, perspective, mixing things, composing, splattering color, and on different parts. This is the third family, and in fourth family and fifth, this goes down. That has lower importance. So here, eyedropper, gradients, blend tool. These are This is a family of colors mostly. And in the next one that only has two members, we have spray and column graph tool. And these are for charts and those that work in PowerPoints. They have more professional one, more advanced one here. You can add things that are in office presentations that are for charts and numbers. You can use these. And here we have pan or hand tool. You can zoom in, slice tool, and artwork. And you can most of these. And here what they do is just fill and stroke. So this was introducing the overall toolbar that you're going to learn most of these in projects. So in drawing, we have a part called line tool, arc tool, spiral tool, rectangular grid tool, and polar grid tool. If you press on line segment tool and your fill is off and you have the stroke on, you can draw a line. But it has some points. If you just click once, this window opens that asks what should be the length and the angle of this line. If you don't want, you can just draw it yourself manually. The thing is, if you hold shift, it will draw with certain angles. So, for example, as you can see, again, 90. These are the famous angles. If you hold Alt at the same time, you can see drawing would be from the middle of the line. So if you don't hold it, you start from the beginning of the line. But if you hold Alt, that spot would be the middle of the line. So, and also while you're holding Alt, if you hold space 2, you can move your line and while you're drawing. So these were for drawing line. And when you are drawing a line, you can hold control for the ends, like the anchor, and move it. There you can see. And these have two anchors and one path. And you can change the thickness in here. So these are the points. You can go to stroke and you can curve the end, add to the thickness, change the color, and you can change the mode. You can see beginning and end. You can do many things with this. And okay, this was for lines. Now we have arc tool here, for example. In spiral tool, when you're drawing, the thing is that the trick that has for drawing is if you see in the right side of your keyboard, you have the arrow keys. If you press up, the number of spirals will be more, and if you press down, it would be less, as we can see on the screen. And here too, if you hold space, you can move it. And if you hold control, you will have access to the anchors. Or in rectangular grid tool, you should pay attention to this. It's really important. If you press right, you can see that from right side, the columns will be added. And if you press left, it would be removed. If you press up, it will be added. Rows will be added. And if you press down, exactly, if you press F, it goes towards down. And if you press C, it goes towards right. If you press X, it will go towards left. So these were important things. And here too, if you hold space, you can move it. Or if you just click once, you can see the settings with details. So it asks the width and height, dividers, and horizontal and vertical, and should it have fill or not. So this was for creating grids. This is important. You can even make the edges curve. In next part, we get to shapes that we have rectangle to round, polygonal, ellipse, and flare star. And I'll draw one or two of these, and you can see what they are. You know them. So for example, I've drawn a square here. If I hold this circle, I can turn it to circle. Here is circle, that's here. But if you want to select one of them, if I want to select one of them, I click once and it will be like this. So many of logos create with this trick. So, and let's get to creating icons of architecture and things for diagrams, architecture and city building diagrams. And how can we create icons, diagram icons that are personalized and our signature kind of, using the icons that we design, and they won't be downloadable and universal. And nobody would be able to use it in their designs, portfolio, and sheets. All right, so for example, I have three icons of these collection, so that you'll learn how to create them in Illustrator, and except that you will learn how to turn all of these to one shape. So if, for example, if I have a we can see here triangle, a circle, and all of these separately. If we draw this separately, how can we turn them to a one shape? And they would be a single shape with fill and their own settings. So for example, before I start designing, so the thing I brought here, you can see, is a file, is a picture that is on this page. So for not accidentally doing anything, if you press Ctrl 2, Ctrl 2 makes it lock in place. And if you press Ctrl Alt 2, it will be unlocked. The other way is, you go to layers, select the object, and after that, in here, press toggle lock and done. All right. So for starters, I'll use pen. And before we draw anything, before I even lock this, I'll decrease the opacity. So for example, I put it on 35. And after that, I'll lock it. So the thing is, if you want to draw on it, this layer exists because no, you cannot draw anything because you have just one layer and you cannot do anything on that layer because it's locked. So for anything that you want to do in Illustrator, the correct way would be opening a new layer or creating a new layer. That happens here. And now you can name it, okay, icon. All right. Now on this layer, I don't want to do anything with it. I'll minimize it, and then I'll select pen, or I can press the shortcut P. So first I'll use this for zooming in. If you hold Alt, you can zoom in and zoom out. If you press Control Space, hold Control Space, you can zoom in and zoom out again. All right, now for this, the first thing that I want to do is I want to give the color, give a color to stroke. The thing is, you know how to create shape. So some of these can be created with shape, so you don't need to, spend time, you drawing them with a pen. My suggestion is make it should have a composition of shape and pen. And next session, paintbrush tool and pencil, and get to know these. But for today's session, we're going to have a elementary tools that we have learned until now. So I'll select rectangle, and I draw this here, and give it a fill. All right. So this until here. Next step, because here has round corners, you have two options. You can either draw a rectangle and zoom in. Make sure to zoom in for Illustrator. It's not like Photoshop, and you can zoom in unlimited amount and it won't be pixelated because this is based on vector and not based on pixels. So what I'll do is I'll do it like this. So again, I hold Control and select one of these circles, and all four would be selected. This is one way. And the other way, you have many options in Illustrator. The other way is use rounded rectangle tool. And it pretty much does the same thing. So I'll try to teach you all the ways and all the options. And everything would be dependent on your practice. And for here, another rectangle. All right, now we get to this part, this line. Make sure that you look analytical. Anything that you see. Now, the more you analyze, the more the better you can analyze and the better you can design. So, for example, in here, for these are the icons that are just in this pack, and you cannot find them anywhere else. These are the architecture or city building, sustainable city building design, or these are the special icons, or these are, for example, the minimal sustainable icons, and none of these packs have anything in common. So you should practice as much as you can and work on and analyze on many famous ones. So my analysis for this here is this is an L line, and so if you don't know the settings like a stroke, you'll activate pen, draw a line here and curve it here and bring it here. This is completely wrong. The right way is for you to, for example, use line, or you from pen draw a straight line. So here and here, and enter. So as you can see, it's not a line, and the reason is the fill is on. So if you turn the stroke on, you'll see like this. So what should we do to have these two corners sharp? These here, and here this part should be curved. What you should do is, one way is this. It's really easy. You can see Illustrator has a really interesting world. So this is one way, and the other way is in stroke, activate this corner. Curve this corner. So the thing here is this is limited, but this way is not. So here, using holding control and using this little circle, you can work with it. And for this part, really easy: shape, ellipse tool, and in the center, using smart guide that uses smart. I hold Alt and Shift, so it would have a great shape. Alright, now when we draw this, we turn off the stroke and turn on fill. And really easy. This was created. And for this part, you can easily create this in several ways, several methods. It all depends on how much you know the tools and how much can you work with the tools. So first way is I'll use a star tool, which you can see there's a star. I'll press up. It increases the amount of star. I can add like here. Alright, so I'll draw this triangle and bring it here. And bring this here. Alright. So what I do is, you can easily, in selection tool, when you hold control, and these two that you see, these two circles, if you select them, this and this, when you select it, around it would have a red stroke. So like this. This and this. Select this one too. And really easy, we drew a drop. Again, so you can see it. Hold control. And the thing here is, in 2020 and 2021 version, when you hold control, you should hold shift, so you would select two spots. Control and shift. One click here, you can see it gets a stroke, and this one. When I'm done, I'll just done. Easily we drew a drop, and now I'll hold Alt and make it bigger from the side and from here. And you can see, really easy, we created this icon. And in this project, so you should have an analytical mind, and you should analyze everything. So how can we create different shapes? I go here and use pen tool, like this. You have several options, and the first one is I'll create this, hold Alt and Shift and get a copy. Smart Guide helps you. Really easy. And for this, rectangle tool, and exactly from the anchor of this shape. And here we have 2 round corners and 2 sharp corners. So first I'll start from the end point of this, align it, and draw this. And now Control and Shift these two and round them like this. Because I pressed enter accidentally, this open. All right, so from here is a line, and from here a little bit towards this way, and done. Really easy. And for here you can work with pen or line or rectangle. So these techniques, learning these techniques helps you not only for creating icons in your diagram, but creating logos, brands, and many things. And you can design them and make money from that way too, with just these simple techniques. All right, the thing is here, now I'll select these 3 and go here and hide them for a little while, and you can see we have these rectangles, so you can really simple and easily use rectangles that have no white fill. I'm now making copy. So really important thing here is when you have some objects on top of each other and you want to work on just one object, so only on the points of this, and you accidentally select the other one and you don't want to lock that one either, the professional way is isolating them. So if you press on your object and double click on it, that object will be isolated, and this happens. So all the objects would have lower opacity temporarily, and no matter how much I click on them, I cannot edit them, and only I can work on my rectangle. This is really great and really easy. So I'll start making copies like this. And here, pay attention. So it should be a line from all the way, so the intersection of this shape and also top and bottom. And when I'm done, when you press escape, it would be out of isolated mode. So this until here. And now this was the factory, this was water supply, and these are the icons that I use are in diagrams, especially in sustainable diagrams. Okay, so a tool that helps us really greatly, and we can use it to make the shapes that we created to one shape, and it's called Shape Builder tool. Shift L. So when do we use it? Always keep this in mind. This is only used when first the shapes that you drew are all in one family, not color family, but either they are all stroke or all fill. This is really important, and Second is they all should be attached to each other, and they should have a border. They shouldn't be like these two that have a space between them. And for example, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so we have 5 shapes here. And for making our work easier and having less amount of layers, if you know with Shape Builder tool, this turns to one shape. So when we use it in for creating icons or brands or logos. You can create different shapes and at the end turn them to a single shape. So for doing that, Shape Builder, I'll use first, I'll select all of it and use an open Shape Builder tool, click on it, and the positive sign will appear next to the mouse pointer. So what it means is when I'm drawing, those places that I'm selecting would be turned to one shape. So as you can see, this is now one shape. This turned to a shape. And because this does not share a border with these, so it won't be attached. So easily I attach these 5 shapes to each other. Or if you want to, for example, remove some things from the shape you created. So let me show you in a simpler shape. I have a circle, and this circle has a different color, and a triangle here. All right. So for example, you want to attach these together. You don't want to use have the same color. So instead of doing that, you can use Shape Builder tool, and before activating, select all of it. Then use Shape Builder tool or Shift L, and you look. As you can see, when I bring the mouse on it, it will be now identified. So when it's on this positive way, you see the positive on the mouse, I can go this direction. And now I'm not holding any key, any shortcut, just left click on the mouse. And done. These all turn to one shape. And here you can just easily change the color. So this was creating icons and complex shapes and brands and logos. This technique is really useful. And now you want to delete this part from the shape. You can select all of it, Shape Builder tool, and hold Alt on the keyboard and click once here and click once here. And I'm done. You can see this is a new shape. And now this shape in creating logos can be used. You can choose transform, reflect, and horizontal, copy, like, and you can attach these two together using Shape Builder tool and turn them to one. Right click, reflect, and this vertical this time. And you can get a really great symbol. So this tool is really useful and great. So I'll do it again so you can see. And now I have these three shapes that are three different kinds, and they're completely separated, color and shape. I'll select all three, select shape builder tool. You have two options for removing. Either hold Alt and give it a direction, so go from here to here, like that, or go to here, or hold Alt, and the areas that is found just need to click once. So for instance, here, or this here. You can see this is a shape, this is a shape, and this is a shape. So this was the how you can use shape builder tool. And here I selected all, shape builder tool, and attached these together. And they turn to one layer. And you can now change the color really easily. So this was for having less layers, so it would be crowded. As you can see, it's just one layer. But now I want to attach all of these together, so and to have these two. So the other way is selecting all and going to Pathfinder, and we have a thing called merge. When you press merge, you can merge everything together. So while they are separated, they are attached together. Or the next option, next way is we can select all of them, Control G. Does practically the same. So they turn to a group, and when you click once, all will be selected. All right, now we get to this one, this icon. So I can simply go here, first turn off the fill. From here to here and here. Just enter. Give it more stroke. Hold Control and curve this part. And for this part, well, the options that you have are you can either draw a circle, or use here ellipse tool and draw a circle like this, and give it a fill and turn off the stroke. And attach it to this. And for deleting the other half, and based on what you've learned, you can simply draw a rectangle from here. All right. Change the color so you can see it better. And now I want to turn this circle to a half circle. You can just select both of them, shape builder tool, hold Alt, and delete these two areas. Really easy. We created this and just attach these two. And for here, like this, enter. Stroke and more thickness. Come from here, stroke, and turn. Okay, make a curved cap. Now I want to make this. I can use this simply. You have many options. You can just get a copy, rotate, and make it smaller for here. Hold Alt, so it would be from both sides. All right. And again, get a copy from this itself, Alt Shift to here. So the thing here is, sometimes you may in your working, you're in Illustrator. So for example, I have these 3 lines here, and I want to turn them to one shape. So if I select these 3 and use Shape Builder tool, you can see nothing happens. So you cannot turn it. So, or the other way that we know from here, path and unite, it would be an error, or merge error. The reason for that is, when you see these errors are merging these and shape builder and all of these pathfinders are not really good with strokes. When they want to create a shape, they pay attention to their fill instead of the stroke, and if they don't have a fill, they don't work. So when you get this kind of problem, what should you do? So I have a solution for you. I have a solution. You can just select all 3, go to Object, Path, and press Join or Control J. And when you do that, you can see these 3 turn to one shape. But as you can see, the cap is not curved. So you can go to Stroke and have a round corner. And this problem will be solved really easily. And all are now the same shape. And the problem is solved. So for reminders, again, you can see these 3 have no stroke and they don't have fill. And you want to turn these to one shape. And you want to turn them to a single shape. You select all 3, Shape Builder, and you can't do anything. And see, again, they're not unique, they are separated. So you go to Pathfinder and Unite, Merge, and nothing happens. Errors. Just errors. So the way is, when you get these problems in strokes, in lines that only have stroke and don't have fill, you can simply select all of them, go to Object, Path, and Join, or Control J. When you press Control J, it may be deformed. Your shape may become deformed. So you can simply, it had corners, and you want to bring it back. So you can simply select it. You can go to Stroke and round the corner. And that problem would be really simple and solved. These are the tricks that you'll when you become a professional, you'll learn. And all right, so we are at the end of today's session. Make sure to do the practice of this session. It's going to be some of these icons of diagrams, especially sustainable diagrams. So I'll select some of them and put them for you and create them and redesign them again for practice. And as additional practice, bonus practice, if you could create some new icons for yourselves and under them write their use. For example, here it says recycle, or flower, butterfly, eco, or water supply and factory, these kind of things. Like them, create some like them or other things in sustainable or other ways and other fields, as bonus practice, and write the name of that icon, of the diagram icon, under it, and on a paper, now whether it has a Illustrator a format or JPEG, send them to me. And these are the practices for today's session, and next session will enter how to create a graphical and illustrated personage or people, illustrated people, personages that are vector based and are really interesting and graphical, and we'll get to teaching them and creating one sample. So until next session, goodbye.